Mitch from Chris, Jay, Al Ninos, and Jovan here. I know we got a few other people that'll be joining us in just a little bit. It is the weekend show. Got all early action today for well, there's a couple late things going on, but NFL preseason, just one more game left for the weekend. So we've seen everybody in action, but at the same time we've seen really nobody in action. And then, we've got Major League Baseball as these pennant races starting to heat up or wind down, however you want to say it. But pretty exciting stuff. I'm just going to randomly ask everybody a question, kind of what I do here at the beginning of these shows. And the reason why I do it is just basically it's a time kill to try and see what happens, to give people a chance to get those notifications so they know that we're on. And really that's all it is. It's like if I don't do this at the beginning, then what happens is people come on and say, "What do you guys think of the Yankees game?" And meanwhile we'd already talked about it. So that's pretty much the thought process here. But outside, it's always good to talk to everybody as a group as well and hear what their take is on just a random out of the blue question. That is what I usually ask, unprepared, unscripted. Chris Ruffalo, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, I enjoyed the NFL preseason action last night, and I'm ready to focus back on baseball for Sunday.
Well, I'm looking at baseball, and one of the teams I'm looking at right now is the San Francisco Giants. And, a couple of days ago, I thought they were done. And now I look at it and I say, maybe not so done anymore. Caught kind of an easier part of the schedule here. Have really taken advantage of it. And, as Romanelli and I were talking about on yesterday's show, guys like Cobb and Wood kind of stepping up to the plate, even though guys like Rodon, haven't. And if they can get Rodon to pitch reasonably well here down the stretch, I mean, the Padres stink. So it's like they're far from the Padres are just looking for a place to lay down. And the Giants not that far back in the loss column here with, 50 games left to play. So, what do you think?
I would think obviously crazier things have happened. The Braves were the team last year that sort of went on that second half run that ultimately led to them winning the World Series. But yeah, I'm with you. The Giants aren't necessarily out of the race, and we've talked about it before. Alex Cobb and Alex Wood were arguably two of the most unlucky pitchers in baseball in the first half of the season. I think a lot of their numbers, and if you delve into advanced metrics, will tell you that. But, Logan Webb, still, I think, the staff ace for this Giants team. And Carlos Rodon, yeah, he's had his moments. He hasn't been great in some spots. But, the last couple starts, he had actually been pitching pretty well. And I think if the Giants can get consistent performances offensively, if the bats wake up and the bats stay hot and the starting pitching does its job, they'll be in a good spot. They have to fix the bullpen issues that, have been rearing their ugly head over the last couple weeks. But yeah, I'm with you. The Giants are in as good a spot as anyone to sort of make a run and at least contend for a wild card down the stretch.
So, Jay, you were talking before the show about the Dolphins and the Buccaneers NFL preseason. I said I didn't really watch too much of the preseason, but I watched the games. I had them on the TV and, peeking over. And the one that kind of got me was the pick that you gave out yesterday, the Steelers and the Seahawks. I thought that the Steelers were just going to kick the field goal there at the end of the game and that, the Seahawks were going to cover that 3.5-point spread. And then the Steelers end up getting a touchdown there and changes it. But the Seattle Seahawks, Clappy and, certainly a rah-rah coach, he wasn't going to lay down there in Pittsburgh. That's for sure.
Nah, for sure, man. Kenny Pickett, man. Hey, I like him. I really like him. He's a baller,
I always say, to me, it all remains to be seen in the regular season. I think when you're up against the third string, you're up against maybe less than what you even faced in college for some of these players. And, to me, the jury is out. I'm less of a Pickett believer than most of the people. I think I'm usually less of a rookie quarterback or even quarterback in general believer until the guy's proven on the field. Of course, I was the same guy that trashed the Patrick Mahomes draft choice by the Chiefs when they traded up to get him. So I thought that they should have taken Deshaun Watson with that pick, that year. And I was pretty critical of them for not doing so. In hindsight, I think either way, I think they probably would have been okay.
Yeah,
and
they would have been good either way.
could have
Andy
been good
Reid
either
would have
way.
had Deshaun Watson ready
Yeah,
to go.
either way, I
But
think that would have been good on that.
but I just think Kenny Pickett is definitely better than Trubisky and Rudolph.
Well,
So
I mean, that's not saying much. Mitch
that's not
Trubisky
saying much,
that was
but
a
you
pick
know,
that we bashed on the show pretty relentlessly. Was that Mitch Trubisky pick? Tony T and I had a good time at his expense, and the fact that the Bears, when they traded up to get him, was just ridiculous for a guy that had played 1 year of college football. It never made any sense. There's certain players out there that could always use another year. And some coaches are willing to call them out on it, and some aren't. And when Pete Carroll was the head coach of USC, and Mark Sanchez left early, he said this guy needs another year, and this guy needs another year, and you know everyone was saying, oh, yeah, because he just wants him to stay. But clearly he did need another year. And there's been a lot of guys like that. He's not the only one. I mean, we've seen a lot of busts throughout the years of some of these guys that just came out too early.
yeah, for sure.
So I think Pickett, I thought that, for me, the Steelers made the best draft choice of the entire draft when they got Pickens. So he was my guy.
Yeah,
And
now he looks like he's gonna be top 10 this season, and then after that, we'll see.
Oh, I won a lot of money on his father. He's like that's when you get to be my age, these football players, it's kind of like racehorses. I won on their father, I won on their grandfather, and Pickens' old man won us plenty of cash in Cincinnati. So we're happy with that. El Ninos, some crazy finishes in baseball as well yesterday. Angels and Twins. I had the Twins yesterday. I thought I was good on, and all the way down to the brutal end. Ohtani with the home run in the 8th, and then, 2 runs in the 9th, and they get the guy at the plate and then lose it. And, 2-run home run in the 10th. Any games that just got you yesterday?
Yeah, there was a couple. I was on the Guardians, especially that one was particularly disappointing because they got off to the start and just fell short at the end. I was close to picking the Twins. I kind of liked them yesterday, but managed to stay away from that one. I was also on the Mariners that looked good for a bit, but didn't manage to hold on in there either.
Definitely a few of those games yesterday. There was a few of those. But,
big upset in Washington as well.
One of them. Well, I didn't think it was that big of an upset. I've been down on the Padres for a couple of years here. Anyways, Jovan, I thought to me one of the more dominating performances and kind of a surprise was Tampa Bay, who just kind of put the hammer down there on the Orioles, who have been, really tough and gamers all the way. And the Orioles kind of, the Tampa Bay got out to the early lead. The Orioles reeled them in. And then once the Rays kind of got going, it was they looked like a playoff team against, a not playoff team. You think it's just one-off game there, Jovan, or you think it's just maybe the writing on the wall here for the Orioles?
Well, no, I believe it's a one-off. One game doesn't make a season, and they just ran into a buzzsaw in that particular game. This is the rubber match of this series. So both of these teams were one's 59 and 54. The other team that's Tampa Bay, 59 and 53. So, they both battling and jockeying for playoff position, wild card position. And, with these games are, most likely going to be a battle. The AL East, they've been known to beat up each other. So wasn't really surprised by it. They were the favorite 2-15. So, there was a lot of favorites yesterday. I'll tell you that much.
Sure seemed like it, right? It just seemed like a lot of favorites came in yesterday. That happens.
That's why I wasn't on baseball really. These high money line games, just not to my liking. It falls way outside of my parameters of putting out premium plays.
Yeah, I can't see it. When it's days like that. I just can't get there. And I see people in the YouTube comments getting excited about the Dodgers -1.5 at -145 odds and hitting a win on that. It's like, I just can't get excited about it. It's like, and it's the same thing. I don't know, maybe it's the years of betting, and maybe it's just, me stubborn in my old ways, not just saying, all right, I can take a winner. But I don't know. I just can't bet that way because I guess I've seen it so many times. And last year, especially when we saw the Dodgers win 107 games, and if you bet on them every single game, you lost money. You lost a lot of money. So it's, I think that, betting favorites is, it's, I always say you just walk into the bathroom over at the Palazzo, walk into the men's room sometime and see it. And that I think it cost $5 or $10 million bucks. I've done some remodeling on my house, and it's like, I know how much that stuff costs. It's like, I'm going to guess that bathroom cost $5 million bucks minimum. Probably, bulk discount on some of that tiling and marble work. Anyways, we're going to do like we did yesterday's show, back to the old format. We're going to kind of go one-on-one. I don't really have any specific order set. No one really told me that they needed to get out the door, so we'll just kind of come back around the horn. We'll get everybody involved, and I know we also have Big Al will be here at some point as well, so we'll go. But we'll start off with Al Ninos. How about that? How about it? Anyways, Al, how's it going today?
Going pretty good. How are you?
I'm good, man. It just seems like everyone always says to me, "Oh, I'm so excited for football. Aren't you excited for football?" And it's kind of like, oh man, it just feels like last season just ended. It really does. It's like, for me, it's like, it just never seems to end. It's like at 15 years every day, and all the videos and everything in between, it just it all runs together at this point.
It doesn't feel like we've had any time off, does it?
No.
Yeah. Shoot, I forget.
Well, we've got, did you do any NFL preseason this week? I didn't do any.
No, as I said, told Tony the other day when he asked me that, really wanted to take my Raiders in the Hall of Fame game. Then obviously wanted to ride that Ravens trend, but I stayed away from on the premium side. And as I said, then the only thing that really looks worth it to me is the Ravens. If I do get there, and on the premium side, it's probably going to be the Ravens. And I'm not too excited about the preseason.
I think if I would have done the preseason games, I think I would be about 500 in the games that I liked. I would have had the Chargers last night. I would have lost that one. I would have lost a bunch of them. So I would have had the Seahawks. I would have had the Bears. I would have had the Ravens. They won. I would have had, it's like I would have lost a bunch. The Jaguars I would have lost. So I'm glad I didn't have any money on it. And, I gave out some free picks, but in the free picks, I always have the disclaimer. But we got Major League Baseball going on today as well. What are you looking at?
Gonna look at a pretty good series matchup today, and a pretty good pitching matchup, particularly today. The Guardians face off. Shane Bieber faces off with Kevin Gausman here in Toronto. Both pitchers coming into this game pretty hot. Both of them having pretty decent seasons, and Toronto's offense has kind of disappeared a little bit lately. They still have a very good lineup here. I know I've knocked on Bieber a bit in the past for coming up short against these tougher lineups. But he has pretty good numbers against most of these Blue Jays. So I expect him to have a good outing. Gausman, same can be said about him. He has some pretty good numbers against these Guardians as well. And I'm expecting a low-scoring game here, at least to start off, because, we can never trust that Blue Jays bullpen too much. And I think that's where the biggest advantage lies here for the Guardians. They had been the hotter team also coming into this matchup, and I think we were getting a lot of value with them here as a dog. So I'm going to take them on the money line here. And if they don't get to Gausman, I expect them to get to the Blue Jays bullpen.
Well, yeah, the Blue Jays now number 1 in the American League wild card, and the Guardians number 1 in the American League Central. They've passed the Twins and put a game and a half in between them and the Twins in a hurry. Once they finally got there, it just seems that that's the biggest lead that the Twins had pretty much for the most of the season. Now the Guardians get to the lead, and they already have a lead that big. So Tito, generally his teams play well in the last couple months of the season in that pennant drive. So the Guardians are going to be tough. The Blue Jays, we saw Barrios look like Barrios the other night, and then last night. So Gausman not having the year that he had in San Francisco, he looks a lot more like the pitcher that we've seen in Baltimore. So I'm gonna have to agree with you on this one. I think Shane Bieber probably going to be large and in charge here, and I think for a team that has been struggling a little bit offensively like the Blue Jays, he has a knack for allowing some guys on base, second and third with like one out or no outs, and nobody scores, and it's just super frustrating for the other team. And then they start whiffing. So I think we'll probably see that. Well, what are you selling today over at Pick Dogs?
Yeah, real quick. Normally, I'd probably be on the Blue Jays if both teams were playing at their best. I'd probably be on the Blue Jays, but I was on the Guardians as a premium on both on the first two games of this series, and this one fell just short of being a premium. I mean, I really do like this play a lot. I think they get the job done tonight, and yeah, as I said, just great timing for them to catch these Blue Jays. They made their runs, you said, to take over the Twins, and normally this would have been a much tougher series for them, and I think they're catching the Blue Jays at just the right time here. Over on the premium side, I got a 5-pack. If you want to check that out, that's all I got. I got just 5 plays on the premium side. But again, your best bet's still going long term or getting one of those 2-for-1 capper specials.
All right, Al. Well, thanks for joining us. Of course, we'll see you during the week on the drive-thru, and we'll see you next week here on the live show as we get closer and closer to regular season. Next week we should see some starters in those NFL games, and I believe that Saturday is a massive day for NFL games next week. So we'll see you then.
All right, yeah, have a good one, Mitch.
Next up, Jay Briggs, newest capper at Pick Dogs. Got off to a pretty decent start here. Jay, welcome to the show.
What's up, Mitch?
Just hanging in there, just doing what we do here every week. It's kind of for me, it's the dog days of summer and preseason all wrapped up into one. It's kind of like, we have that baseball stretch, and it's like I always say every year about a million things that I try and do, which in what's seen as our slower time. And, well, I haven't really done too many of them. So I'm still redesigning my studio. At least I have it set up now. But I'm spending the entire day today in this studio, not doing videos, just on all the tech stuff that I need to do, which is pain in the ass.
Trust me, I know. I still have something to do in here too.
I've got about 100 of these, and these are soundproof. Yeah, because you guys can hear in my regular videos. There's a slight echo in there, and I just don't like it. So I'm gonna do the whole room, and nothing fun about it. So I'm not handy. I got all different shapes and sizes to try and make it interesting, but at the end of the day, it's just soundproof tiling. But anyways, we saw preseason yesterday, and we had some good games, and we talked about it at the beginning. And there's also some lousy games, and there's still a lot of question marks. I know you like Kenny Pickett, and
yeah,
like, I'm anti-rookie quarterback.
Right
I need to see the rookies, in real game action against first team. In order for me to buy in.
I understand. Me, sometimes I'll be on my degenerate stuff, but currently right now I'm hot in the preseason. I'm 7-1 overall in preseason.
I'd like to see Cody Pickett against that Browns pass rush.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it's like I'd like to see how
when Myles Garrett's coming around the corner.
Let's see how you do that.
Yeah, I understand.
Let's see how you do that. Well, what do you got for us today?
Today, for the show wise, I'm giving you guys. I'm looking at the NFL. I'm giving the total. So currently, right now in the NFL preseason, I look at a lot of trends. I look at a lot of what's going on currently. Currently in the preseason, the over is 13-3. We've seen this Raiders team play already. Jarrett Stidham was in there. He was already in the system in McDaniel's system, so he kind of knows what was going on. And they scored 27 on the Jags. Well, I'm looking at the over to go over again in this one. I can just see the Raiders giving us, 20, 27 points again, and I can see the Vikings chipping in a few points to just get us over that over. We got Texas A&M backup. He's backing up in Minnesota. Kellen Mond, I kind of like him too. So he should get in there and maybe get us a few little scores.
He's got a little more
And that should
time
get
under
us.
his belt than what we saw last season when he really just didn't look ready. But
Yeah, he wasn't ready last season at all. I think we'll see him bounce back today. Maybe get us a touchdown or two, hopefully.
'cause-
Over.
Well, what do you think? Like a team, the Raiders beat the Jaguars, and we saw that in the Hall of Fame game. But then, when we see the Jaguars then come out their next game and then lay an egg with a game under their belt, they did score 13 in the first half when their better players were in, and then 0 in the second half. Is that kind of just, well, the Jaguars are just bad? Do we deduct something from the Raiders for that? Do we, how do we handle that? Because we know the Vikings offense in recent years has been, really two. First it was one
Middle
guy.
of the pack.
First it was one
Yeah.
guy, and one, the running back Cook, and then it's with the addition of Jefferson, kind of opens things up, for them. So and Thielen I think is there, but he seems to get injured a little bit more, and he is
Yeah, true.
he's clutch, but it's like they got rid of Diggs, and then they get Jefferson, who is. It's probably a wash. I think Jefferson.
What a back-to-back. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, that's a crazy back-to-back. But like you said, it's probably a wash.
It probably is a wash. It's hard to say because I think that Jefferson really can be so much better. And we knew it was great. And there's another guy, right, that we won money on his father too. And it's like, it just seems, that I'm just at that stage, and it's like I'm headed towards grandkids.
I'm not really there yet, but I see.
Yeah, I'm already there. John Jefferson was great wide receiver for the Chargers and the Air Coryell offense. He was, revolutionary in the game of football, in the passing game. So, yeah. So I guess the over, but it's like
I said, like it's trend wise, 13-3 overall in the preseason. I think they were setting totals kind of lower because typically in preseason we see a lot of unders, not a lot of offense, a lot of good defense, but I think they're just setting them a little low this season, and we've seen a lot of offense. Guys trying to prove themselves, I guess. I don't really know the reason why we've seen a lot of overs, I guess, but we've seen them. So I mean, I don't see no reason why we can't see another one here today.
Yeah, I think, for me, the most surprising over was that Rams-Chargers game when it was set at about 29 and the Rams scored that by themselves, So it was,
yeah.
That one was crazy. But,
yeah.
But once again, in that game, we saw, Isaiah Spiller from Texas A&M, to me, who looks probably one of the, going to be one of the better rookies who will contribute. For sure. So, as good as Eckler is, teams are always looking for the next guy.
Those
or like
backs, you say,
they lose a step. It's
everybody calling for Tony Pollard to take over my guy Zeke's job,
Yeah. Those guys, they lose a step. That's all it really takes.
That's all it takes.
The difference between a 4.3 and a 4.40 or 4.5 is astronomical. It's crazy.
Really is.
Well, what do you got going on today at Pick Dogs?
I have a 3-pack up there today. I got my NFL preseason best bet up there. That's the side in the game. I got my MLB best bet, which is hot, man. The MLB best bet is hot. I've hit my last 5. I think 7 of 8 in my MLB best bet. So you can go ahead and jump on that. Or you can get the NFL season pass or 3-day, 7-day, or 30-day, man. I'm heating up. NFL's right around the corner. You guys, you guys want to hop on right now. Now's the time. The time.
Yep, and use that code AUG15, get 15% off.
AUG1U5.
Any of Jay's picks. I know, I run the business side of everything, and I run, the sites, and you guys don't see all of that stuff. behind the scenes. But I can tell you that, Jay, for a new capper, people are interested in his picks. They're getting his picks and they're winning money. And that's really the most important part of it. It's like for us, it's like people hopping on our picks and getting winners is always, getting people on winners is always, to me, the best part of it. Jay's been able to do that right out of the gate. And it's not easy, when you first start out. It's just not. It's not as easy as people think. And, a lot of people in the comments and a lot of my haters out there, they don't even understand the business part of things, and it's like at the end of the day, we have the things like putting on shows like this, all this stuff. There's a cost to it, so it's like, and that's why we charge for picks, that's why we do it. Guys like, some of the trolls, like, Chris can tell you, we have a guy named Joe Thebo who like just trolls the crap out of us. And it's like, he seems to think like that, that it's not, I don't know what his thought process is, but it's like, these guys just come on your show because you pay them. I'm like, it's a business, just like you show up for your job at McDonald's, because they pay you. It's like, I don't really understand it. I don't. It's like whatever. But anyways, man, we're glad to have you and look forward to seeing more from you. Anyways, we're gonna bring in Jovan next, and
all right.
Thanks for joining us, and we will see you on the drive-through, right, with Tony T during the week. And,
yes, sir. Monday through Friday. I think I'm off Wednesdays, but yes, catch me on the drive-through.
All right, and we'll see you next week right here as well.
Next week right here.
All right, we got Jovan up next. Jovan, how's it going?
Yeah, just another day. Mostly baseball, one football game, and yesterday was interesting, to say the least.
It's odd because we're at that point in the year for sports where it's like we're sitting on, it's Sunday and we're sitting on 15 Major League Baseball games and one NFL game, and we know that like in a couple Saturdays it's like all hell breaks loose. It's like that's all it really takes is like in a couple weeks it's just going to be a totally different scenario, as far as scheduling goes. So, we know college football Saturday, September 27th or August 27th this year is week 0. And then we have, Thursday, September 1st is when it really gets rolling, that opening weekend. What are you thinking for college football this year? Are you going to, you started your study, and a lot of teams still naming their starters and,
Yeah, it's really on the holding pattern, until these coaches, some of these coaches, because you already know that as far as quarterbacks, you already know what some teams are going to do, but others you don't know yet, and until then it's really a holding pattern. Like this is the time for me where I really start to dig in, a couple weeks out from week 0, so I'll be getting the magazines out, going over everything, and getting up to speed on things that aren't widely available information. So that's where I'm at with it right now. But
any
I'm prepared.
Any under the radar teams for you this year, like that's going to be your money team that at least in the early going that you think like maybe there's going to be some value on them in college football. Like for me, I'm on New Mexico State. It's like Jerry Kill's my guy. He's at New Mexico State. Now it's like he should have still been the head coach of Minnesota. It's like he didn't get fired.
Yeah, he had a lot of health issues,
right.
But I don't know if that's the reason why he got pushed out or whatever the case was.
He won the Little Brown Jug and
right.
and put Minnesota like basically on the map.
Yeah. He absolutely did. So I don't know the situation with him not being in Minnesota. You can only speculate, but
he was at TCU last year under Patterson, and he was the interim coach there. I was surprised when they didn't keep him on.
Yeah,
so.
Give it.
This guy can flat out coach.
Absolutely.
So.
Listen, he was coaching. Like with all those health issues, he was still coaching. Up to even being up in the booth and You know what I mean? Like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
he definitely knows how to coach. You know,
and the
so
thing is, he's done it with less. And it's
right,
kind of like, and he comes from the really small ranks. The Division three. Where like 500 people at a game. That's where he's worked his way up. And when he first won the Little Brown Jug, he's like 2 years ago. I was coaching in front of 300 people. A game. He's like, who in the world would have thought I'd be here today? And it doesn't
right.
take him long. So I think I just think that New Mexico State is kind of a place where you can fly under the radar. You're probably going to get some generous numbers, as well. So why not?
Yeah, I mean, it seems probably a situation like that. It probably suits him more, and with his experience, they should have a successful season.
All right. Well, we know those first couple weeks, there's always a couple rough games in there too, and Idaho State UNLV is going to be a tough watch, but CBS Sports Network is going to cover that thing, so it'll be an option, and I'm sure there'll be people wanting picks on it, which is crazy. But anyways, what do you got going on today?
Yeah, so we're gonna look at this Brewers Cardinals game. Brewers are currently a half game up well, the Cardinals are half a game up on the Brewers at this point, and I'm gonna look at the over in this one. You just have these teams where they both know each other. The pitchers, the batters know the opposing team's pitchers and vice versa, and I think that Aaron Ashby has a rough go of it, and Miles McCollus, yeah, he gave up 10 in Coors Field, so it might be a one-off, but then again, maybe not. It is August. I just suspect a lot of runs crossing the plate in this one. You have a St. Louis Cardinals bullpen who has a 5+ ERA in their last 10, and like I said, Aaron Ashby, his ERA is 4.72 away from home. So, and really their bullpen is not to be trusted. The way they got rid of Josh Hader. Josh Hader wasn't doing good towards the tail end, but you saw it almost immediately. After that trade deadline, they gave up whether it was a blown save situation in a couple different games. So I don't trust the Brewers bullpen, with the 10-foot pole. So I think all in all, this one's gonna go over. I know it's at 8 right now, and I'm expecting one of those 5-4 close games when it's all said and done.
Yeah, Miklos has like a career 10 ERA at Coors. He had an 8+ ERA going in to that game. He had only had 2 career starts there, but he's never had success at Coors. So I think you could throw that one out. But
Yeah.
I think after last night, it seemed that most of the runs came late. I think you're probably onto something. Normally you see that carry over. And Ashby, he's been nothing special. That's for sure. What do you got?
Absolutely not.
What do you got going on today at Pick Dogs?
Yeah, so I'm back on baseball. Got 3 plays. I got a 3-pack going. My Show Me the Money Sunday MLB 3-pack, and then all those three plays are sold individually, led by the Laser Show. Also have my strike out the side and my plus money run up. So it's good value. With especially the plus money run up. So, I'm looking forward to another successful day. I've been hot in baseball, so just looking to keep it going.
So week 1, opening Thursday night of college football, New Mexico State at Minnesota. So that should be the Jerry Kill homecoming right there. I didn't
right
realize
off the bat.
that. Yeah, well, they play week 0. New Mexico State does, but so they'll have one under their belt. But they do play at Minnesota. But anyways, that's Jovan. Thanks for joining us. He's got packages available today. And, of course, use that code AUG15. Get 15% off.
Absolutely.
All right. His baseball has been red hot over the past week or so. Next up, we got Big Al. He wasn't here yesterday, but he's back today. And I saw when I was looking at Ruflo's picks for our show that we did earlier, premium YouTube, that he's got several picks in today. So back in action, liking this board, Al?
Today, yeah, I do like Sunday's card. I've got 3 plays, which for me this season, baseball has been a pretty heavy load. Usually I've been going, 1 play a day, sometimes 2, but today I've got 3 plays. I've got my Major League Baseball game of the month. So it's a really good card today.
We're just talking to Jovan about those early college football games. Have you already started your homework here?
No, I was listening to your talk. I was, enjoying it actually. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum from a lot of guys. I could not care less about, getting the jump on teams, so to speak, and, looking at, battles between players, looking at depth charts. I'm a situations and numbers guy, so I'll be looking at point spreads and data and not really caring too much about individual players and other storylines that a lot of other guys care about.
So in college, though, is more of a place where the coaches move around, and it's like you see entirely new systems in there, so entirely new offenses and defenses, and we've got some big name programs and some big name coaches, changing teams this year, and a quarter of the teams have a new coach in college football this year. 28 new head coaches in college football. Brian Kelly is now at LSU. Lincoln Riley at USC. Marcus Freeman takes over at Notre Dame for Kelly. Billy Napier taking the step up at Florida. That's a gorilla. Imagine having to take that job. Mario Cristobal, coming home to Miami. And, it just goes on and on. Brett Venables leaving Clemson defensively, and now he's got his own team in, Oklahoma, who's had no defense in the last 10 years. Boy, it's going to be a great year, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, for the way I do things, it might be week 5 and I'm looking at rushing yardage, or I'm looking at points per differential, or I'm looking at, defensive points allowed and all those kinds of data. So, I just let the games come to me rather than kind of try to forecast what I'm going to do, or try to find teams that I think may or may not be under the radar, because who the hell knows? It might be week 4 and that team I thought that was under the radar is not under the radar, and that, they're 3-0 straight up in ATS and they're blowing out teams. And, I'll probably be looking to go against the team at that point.
Yeah, to me, it just seems that we're going to see a lot of scoring down in the Southwest once again, with Sonny Dykes taking over at TCU, with Brett Lashley over at SMU. These are all offensive coaches. And then at Oregon, they go the opposite direction. They take Georgia's defensive coordinator, as their head coach. They could have had anybody they wanted. They have more money than God. They actually do have more money than God. They added up the money, and they figured it out, and they figured with Phil Knight's bankroll, they probably could have had whatever they wanted, but they go with Dan Lanning from Oregon. We haven't really, from Georgia, we haven't really seen like that correlation of a defensive coach at Oregon in a while,
So when I last looked at athletic department budgets, at least for football anyway, I had seen that I think the top 4 were Texas A&M, Ohio State, and Michigan.
That's official. That's official school money, outside booster money, because I believe that Houston and Oregon have the most.
So when they throw in the boosters, then it changes the whole thing.
Well, Tillman Fertitta runs, Houston. Like when Houston goes to petition to be in the Big 12 conference, Tillman Fertitta is at the meeting with them. Just like Phil Knight, just happens to be on the sideline at Oregon games. It's just, just like Boone Pickens, when he was alive, happened to have the stadium named after him at Oklahoma State. He's not, it's obviously these are state schools, and the budgets and everything are listed, but this money has to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder how involved Stephen Ross is in Michigan.
I'm not sure, but he certainly, Jim Harbaugh's name was mentioned for the Dolphin job.
Yeah. I think Stephen Ross's name is on the business school there. So, but I don't know how involved he is in the athletics.
We see, Don Brown leaving Michigan, it seemed like, now at UMass, you just see a lot of these changes. And to me, it's like trying to figure it out. Virginia Tech deciding to go in another direction. Always hard, when the guys take over for the legend. That's like the impossible job. The expectation's too high. I mean, Frank Solich, when he took over for Tom Osborne, wasn't good enough at Nebraska. And meanwhile, they haven't had anybody who's been even close to him since. And,
yeah, that's often the story, So.
Anyways, we've got a lot going on today. I know you're on some Major League Baseball. What do you like today?
Yeah, the game that that I'm not giving out on the premium, right? So this didn't make the cut, but the game that intrigues me the most is the Kansas City Dodger game. Primarily, I mean, the Dodgers obviously playing the best ball of any team in baseball. They've won 12 in a row. Yesterday, they blew out the Royals 13-3. But this is sort of the type of game where I think, you try to find the spot where you're going to go against the Dodgers. I've got a spot coming up this next week, that I might want to go against the Dodgers as a big play. But, for a free play here, I think this is an interesting spot because you've got Brady Singer starting for Kansas City. And I think what you can do in this game is you can kind of take Kansas City plus 1.5 runs at plus $1.40 and also take it under the 9. I'd be surprised if you lose both of those plays with Brady Singer on the hill. And Singer, he's had 5 quality starts out of his last 6. All 6 of those starts did go under the total. So, that's one reason why I like the under the 9 runs here. And he's allowed just 10 runs in his last 39 and a third innings pitch. That's a 2.28 ERA. Is I think a 1.04 WHIP. And then you also take a look at how the Royals have done in his home starts. They've won, and this goes back to last season, they've won 9 out of his last 12 home starts. So I really think the Royals are a live underdog here, especially if you can take plus 1.5 runs. I'm projecting a lower scoring game and, plus 1.5 runs plus $1.40. Then you take a look at how Kansas City as a team has done with the under. They're 53-33 under the total when they're facing left-handed pitchers, and they're 61-43 under in the daytime. So those are the 2 things I want to do here. I want to I'm not going to tie them together in a parlay, but the goal is to win at least one of them and profit.
You sure you don't want a same game parlay? Can't talk into it. All right. Yeah. I gave out the Royals in my video today, money line. I got hammered in the comments. So we'll have to see how this one shapes up. But generally when I get crushed in the comments that badly,
that's usually right.
It's usually a good sign. So
it's not a bad sign.
No, it's like, I know a lot of people use, the money movements and things like that, which we're not, like I've said a million times, we're not even sure where that data comes from anymore. But, I think that, the better indication these days is social media, and that's where you can really see where the public is. It just seems, you can get a good read on. I used to read the old, one of the old forums out there on one of the popular sites that used to be on, but I don't think they sell picks anymore. But I used to look in their forum and just find out who everybody was on there and kind of go on the other side. I haven't been there in a long time, but I did that many years ago. I was probably had as good a success doing that as anything else. But anyways, what do you like today? What do you have for sale? I know you said you had 3 Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I've got three baseball games. I'm not playing the football game today, but I've got 3 baseball games. Cash yesterday on the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm 25-11, my last 36, and I've got my Major League Baseball game of the month. I've got 2 other baseball plays beyond that. So it's a great card, and of course, the best value is to join for a week, a month, or a year. Especially this time of year, it's great to join for a year, and yeah.
So this is the time of year where a lot of handicapping sites seem to pop up out of nowhere, like handicappers, right? All of a sudden, just so happens it's almost football season. There's a new, handicapper, and they're always contacting me to either be on the site or, they want to pick my brain, which I never really understood why you would ask somebody that. It doesn't sound fun. I don't want my brain picked. But is it always been like this? I know you've been in the business longer than me. So, I mean, is it just always been like this, or it's just with Twitter and the internet?
No, it's all. I mean, well, at least since email, or actually no, because even before email, I would get phone calls all the time from people as well. One of the things I've always done is actually help people out. I mean, I get those I want to be a handicapper calls or videos or email or whatever all the time, and I always respond. People are always surprised when I respond. I always try to pay it forward and help people out and tell them what to do and give them good advice. If they do want to get into this business. I don't think people understand how difficult the business is. I think people think it's a lot rosier and easy than it actually is. But I always try to, shoot straight with people and give them the best advice when you get those, calls.
I usually try and explain to them that I'm not going to help them do it for them. If they have questions or whatever, generally it's about building a site, and things of that nature. And it's like anyone that's ever bought a pick or has ever even seen a pick for sale without even buying it, you can tell which sites have put money into that and which ones haven't. I mean, it really is that simple. And it's not cheap to get started, and it's not easy. Like Al said, he's been doing it forever. I've been doing it, 15 years. Every day is still a battle for me. Every day.
Well, you also try to explain to a lot of the folks out there that it's like any other business. It's no different than owning a restaurant. I mean, when you own a restaurant, you have to put hundreds of thousands of dollars into the build out of the restaurant. You have to, hopefully survive the first year or two where you have lost money. It's really no different than any other business, but people think it's different. They don't understand.
I think the
capital investment and the time investment and everything else.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like any other business. Like you have to show up every day.
Yeah.
You have to show up every day, and just because you sell the best donut in town, it doesn't or in the world or on the internet or anywhere else, doesn't mean that everyone's going to know that. And it doesn't mean that you can go over to my donut shop and sell your donuts here in my comments or whatever. It's kind of you have to
build a brand.
It just takes time. There's no shortcut to it. I tell the story all the time. I had 3 readers my first month, and then I had 10 my second, and so it just takes time, and for that to happen. One of them happened to be Fox Sports. It was someone at Fox Sports. It was one of my 10 readers my second month. So
yeah, I mean, I founded my business in January of 1992, and it wasn't until December of 1995 that it exploded. I mean, it took over 3 years.
Yeah, I would say we started in 2008. Always had some success as far as traffic, but as far as making it like a full-time job that I could do, it took at least 3 or 4 years. At least, to be able to support a staff and everything of people to make it what you want to do. But we appreciate you coming on as always, and we'll see you next week. And of course, during the week on the drive-thru, and look forward to your NFL picks this season. Big Al, traditionally, you can't guarantee, because he's won in the past, he'll win again, but at the same time, you kind of gotta like your chances, right? It's kind of like the betting tools, they show you how often the bets come in, and and the odds of that happening. So,
did you do the Circa contest? Did you go out to Vegas yet?
I haven't done it yet. I'm gonna do it opening weekend.
Okay.
How about you? Have you done it?
Yeah, I entered, Scott Spreitzer and I are partners in it. We entered about 4 or 5 weeks ago, early,
Yeah, I'm going to be last minute again. Did you do Circa and Westgate, or you just did Circa?
We did Circa and Westgate, yeah.
I think the Westgate is starting to lose some momentum on their contest.
It is,
I think they are.
Which is fine with me because, I mean, the numbers also swelled up to the unimaginable range. I mean, I remember, I think when I won the mini contest in 2015 or so, I don't know what year it was. I think there was only 1,700 people. Then it gets to the 4,000, 5,000. It gets to be a bit daunting when you have 4,000 to 6,000 people in a contest.
Yeah, it's tough. I've seen it won both ways though. I've seen it with people coming off the pace. I've seen it people come from the middle of the pack in the second half of the season. I've seen it front run, the entire way. The same guy that was leading week 1 win the whole thing. So it can be done, but boy, it is
But
definitely.
when you get to 5 or 6,000 or even 1,500 for that matter, you can have that great year and still finish 12th. I mean, it's just so many people in the contest. It's like catching light.
I haven't been that.
lightning in a
I haven't
bottle.
been that fortunate yet, but I hope to get there. I hope to get there. Maybe this is my year.
Yeah.
So all right, I will.
Okay.
We'll see you during the week, and of course next weekend right here on our live show. Thanks for joining us.
Good luck, Mitch. Adios. Bye.
We got Chris Ruffalo up next. Chris, how's it going?
You really caught my attention talking about donuts when I was sitting in the green room. I'll tell you, I had to
love
really
donuts.
focus.
I love donuts. I went fishing on the other day, and the captain of the ship, I happened to bring like a box of those donut holes on the boat, and the captain was just like, I'm like, oh, you want some? He like reaches in, grabs like a handful of them like this, like a ball, because I only get on the donut holes, I only got 3 flavors. They don't say, oh, you want an assortment? I only want 3 different flavors I got on the donut holes, and that's it. Powdered, glazed, and the chocolate glazed, and that's it.
Yeah, up here we got a wide selection of donut holes. And
yeah, I mean,
I partake in many.
Yeah, I mean, I don't turn any of them away, but those are my flavors.
Yeah, fair enough.
Those are my flavors. But anyways, a lot of games today, and obviously we did our premium VIP combo this morning on the show, and of course Chris co-hosts with me during the week on our live show, the other 5 days of the week that we're not doing this, and it just seems right. It just kind of all runs together. I was talking to Jovan and Al about it, and it's just here we are. It's football again. And before you know it, it's college basketball again and NBA again, and they'll be in the World Series, and it's like. October is always a slow month too,
Yeah, when everything's starting to kick up, and
it's like where it's just football and then the baseball playoffs, and it kind of slows down for a couple weeks there, and then it picks back up again. Like what? Then it's the mad charge to April. So, what college football teams are you looking at this year? Anybody early?
You mentioned New Mexico State earlier, and they're a team I'm looking at it in week 0, but. I'm really interested in a couple teams like I want to see what Miami does this season with Mario Cristobal there now, and it's there are conferences I'm keyed in on that I want to take a look at. Like I love the Sun Belt personally. I love those midweek Sun Belt games, and I'm always going to be a fan of SEC football, but now it's starting to see the rivalry start to dissipate a little bit with everybody moving around, and I think I'm just going to try to enjoy it while I can.
So this year, I just looked it up. That the World Series starts on Sunday, October 30th, and the NBA season starts the same day as the League Championship Series, October 19th. So the NBA is like, it just seems that they had the one year that they started at Christmas, but now it's like they're back, to doing what they do. And I think it's better. The NBA spreads it out. It just seems the guys this past season at least seem to have played more games than you didn't see a lot. You didn't hear load management except on our shows, and you didn't hear a lot of those things. So anytime when the star players play more, that's going to be a good thing.
Yeah, 100%. I can't stand those words, load management. Ironically, it's Toronto where the majority of it, where it's starting to really become prevalent. But I'm with you. I think it's spread out is the way to go when you have all the best players playing their games.
Well, what do you got for everybody on today's show?
Well, today I'm going to be looking at this matchup between the Atlanta Braves and Miami Marlins, and I did the Braves and Marlins video yesterday. I said hopefully we'll be able to update the status of the Atlanta starting pitcher because it didn't come out until late today. It looks like Bryce Elder, going to be going for the Braves. We haven't seen Elder really since, in a starting role since April, and he wasn't terrible. The majority of his starts, he went got into the 5th inning and gave up 2 to 3 runs. The problem is for the Miami Marlins is that's all they might get in this game. You go back over their last 49 games, they've scored 3 runs or less 38 times. And it's resulted in this Marlins team going from a team that was hanging around the 500 mark or just under it to now around I think it's 50 and 64 entering Sunday's action. So, I don't trust Bryce Elder to go the entire way. I think obviously the bullpens are going to get involved here, but Braxton Garrett, as good as he's pitched, he needs run support to win games, and I just don't think that run support's going to come from the Miami Marlins here until they show signs of life. I'm off of the Miami Marlins. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Braves here. Braves, need to keep winning to keep pace with the Mets to try to make another stretch run in September. But either way, the Braves are just the more consistent offensive team for me here, so I'm running with the Braves.
I'm with you in this one. Just the Marlins just have not done anything, and I think that that's part of the problem here. It's just they've not been able to really, get any kind of offense whatsoever. I was surprised at the trade deadline that they didn't move more pitchers to try and, try and get the offense going. But, so be it, and I guess that's just, they're content to wait it out. But in the meantime, it hasn't been all that pretty. They had a chance. It looked like they had a chance to really do something, but just didn't. Like at the All-Star break, I believe they were only 5 out, or something.
Yeah.
They were like right in the mix, but were unable to do it. It's amazing how many starting pitchers they have, though. And when you have, it's most teams would kill for their starting pitching, but when you don't score any runs, it makes it tough.
Yeah, and I believe I read somewhere. I'm just trying to find the name here. Andrew Nardi being promoted from the minors for the Marlins, a 2.29 ERA, 76 strikeouts to 18 walks. I don't know if he's coming in as a reliever. It says he's converted 9 of 12 save opportunities this season, but it's just another Miami pitcher that,
I would guess that it would be a reliever because that was what they dealt at the trade deadline was relievers.
Yeah.
It's just those are the trades they had.
I was going to say it's just another golden egg for the Miami farm system in terms of that's all they seem to do is just groom great starting pitching the last few years.
That has been their story. Anyways, well, what do you got for sale today at Pick Dogs?
For today at Pick Dogs, I got my $15 pick-off play. Got back on track with the Arizona Diamondbacks yesterday. Going to try to close out the week strong, finish the weekend with another winner. And I got that $15 pick-off play as part of my Sunday Slam MLB 3-pack for $40 at Pick Dogs Premium. But we keep mentioning it. Use that promo code AUG15, AUG15, all one word, all lowercase. 15% off. Covers you for the daily passes, for the long-term passes. Definitely take advantage of it because August is moving pretty quickly. So use that promo code and get yourself a package today.
It's definitely moving very fast. It was weird. July just didn't seem to move at all, and then August it just seems to be flying by, and that's why I was talking to Jovan. It's like we're 2 weeks away. By 2 weeks, when we're having the show not next Sunday but the following Sunday, week 0 is going to be in the books. There's going to be college football teams that are and there's some decent games in there in week 0 and in week 1. You got Nebraska, Northwestern. That's pretty much the only good one. But then you've got week 1, right out of the gate on Thursday night, you got the backyard brawl with Pitt, West Virginia. You've got Purdue, Penn State, and that New Mexico State, Minnesota game we were talking about. And there's a few other games in there as well. And then, of course, Saturday, all those big matchups that they've been opening up with this year in recent years. So pretty exciting stuff. But anyways, Chris, we'll see you tomorrow morning on the live show.
All right, see you tomorrow morning.
All right, we bring in Rod Zwacky. Rod, the Dolphins get a lucky bounce last night as the game-winning field goal bounces off the upright for Tampa Bay, and they didn't even seem too upset about it. You think the fix was in there, or you think that, I don't know. It's like you practice. They always say you practice like you're playing in a game, but the kicker didn't seem to be. He was laughing that he missed it. I mean, if that's everyone knows if that's my kicker, he's fired, right? So
he's fired. Yeah, exactly. Right. Season or not, you should, as a kicker, you should be still giving 150%.
Yeah, you got it.
You have one job. Kick the ball through the uprights. That's.
I mean, there's nothing funny about costing your team the game, whether it be preseason or regular season.
Preseason or not, yeah. No laughing matter there, that's for sure. Definitely not.
Any other surprises there? I thought our guy Skylar Thompson played extremely well in that game, and I thought he was as good as anybody.
He looked real good. He looked real good playing. So,
as Jay Briggs said earlier on the show, these games have been high scoring in preseason. I think a lot of people are expecting very low scoring games. We had that Chargers-Rams game where the total dropped from 32 to 29, and the Rams scored that themselves.
Right?
I watched some of the game. I still can't tell you the name of that Rams quarterback. I have no idea who this guy was.
No, because when I looked, I was like, I don't know the guy's name either. I was like, oh. I'm like, the Rams are in trouble today. They start their starter one round, and then they're in trouble because I don't know who those guys are. And then look what he did.
That's what
I find in the preseason. You get some guys who this is their one shot, right? Like I heard they cut on the day of cutting. It's like they cut over 900 guys. Get cut on that last day.
Now they have with the NFL teams, they have this reserve squad. So it's not like how it was in the old days where it was like the Turk came and that was it. It just seems that they have a bigger reserve team than they've ever had in the past.
Yeah, exactly. You get signed to the practice roster, and you got a little more backups because the NFL is rough when people get injured throughout the year. Yeah, no team usually makes it unscathed. It's very tough.
Oh, you look at those injury lists around 5 or 6 games into the season. They're normally a mile long. You're never sure who's going to play until right when they're ready to go. But what do you got for everybody today?
Today we're going to go with we're going to look at this Oakland game here. Oakland and Houston, the Astros. I think we have touched on that one. So whether we got Christian Javier getting a start here for the Houston Astros. And if you look, he's 1-5 is this Houston team in his last 6 starts. But he has been pitching well. And then you look Cole Irvin on the other side for Oakland, and he's been pitching well. He's only given up more than 3 runs once in his last 10 starts. Team 7-3 to the under. So we know that Houston definitely is towards the under. So I like the under here. I think we got a pitching duel on our hand between Christian Javier and Cole Irvin. Both have been pitching lights out. So I like the under. Oakland 7-0 to the under in the last 7 Irvin starts. And Irvin's 5-0 in his last 5 starts versus teams with winning records. And you look at Christian Javier off of a loss. So his last time out, he did lose. The team lost. He comes back 5-1 to the under is Houston when Javier loses. So I like the under here. I think we're going to lower scoring pitcher duel on our hand here on Sunday. Oakland, Houston under.
Well, they're all smiles in Houston after yesterday with Lance McCullers Jr. 6 innings, 2 hits, 5 strikeouts. He did have 4 walks in that game, but didn't allow a run. And, it doesn't matter that they're playing Oakland. Lance McCullers Jr. back in action and just really just another loaded weapon for the Astros here in the starting rotation after Javier and Framber Valdez are just had great seasons on their own. So the Astros going to be super tough here down the stretch. I mean, they have to be the favorite to win the World Series at this point.
I don't know. I think the Dodgers are the favorite to win the World
Series. Well, maybe
the
betting favorite, but my favorite, I'll take the Astros.
Oh, yeah, betting favorite is the Dodgers because everybody's looking at them going, "Oh, those beating the Dodgers. Look at them go."
The Mitch favorite is going to be the
Astros. I don't know. Watch out for the Mets.
So
DeGrom's been looking too. With that addition, him late there can be big too. I think they're going to be a tough out, and then the Braves would be a tough out as well. So.
Wow, last year, Big Al just sent me a text. He said last year was 13-2 to the under through 15 games of NFL preseason week 1. Plus the Hall of Fame. This year it's 12-3 to the over. Yeah, so right. Whether the officiating, the rule changes, whatever the case may be, it is a real different story. What do you got going on at Pick Dogs today?
And going over our pick dogs today, we're up back-to-back winning days, so let's keep it rolling. I got my Bookie Buster play. You can scoop that up. That's my top-rated play of the day in today's card. You can pick it up by itself singly, or you can get my 3-pack, my Sunday Safe Crackers. I got 3 plays in the MLB there, and that includes my Bookie Buster play in the Safe Crackers package. You can scoop that up over at Pick Dogs Premium.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Rod, and we'll see you next week, and of course during the week on the drive-through.
Definitely. Thanks for having me. See you guys next week.
Well, that wraps it up, everybody. Thanks for joining us once again. It was a really good crew, and I know that yesterday we had some comments about returning back to this style, but I have to say that this style definitely. I think we get more out of each capper, and I think that you guys know I'll do my best to squeeze out a couple extra picks and tidbits out of everybody, and we'll figure it out. I think some days, the cappers will give one pick, other days they'll be able to give more than that. But I think having them dialed in and focused on one game as opposed to, trying to pull a pick out of a game that, they're just like, well, I hate this slot. It's like, I think it's a lot more interesting, a lot more fun for all of us. So we always do it, do the best that we can. And we, of course, even though these aren't premium picks, I don't think there's a guy on the Pick Dogs roster that doesn't try and win every single pick they give out. So thanks, everyone, for joining us. Make it a winning day. We appreciate each and every one of you.